Hello children and good morning to the live class. Can I get attendance from the students of class 11? I'm writing good morning wishes. I'm writing wishes and I hope you watched the video yesterday as we had started our poem 2 days back. It was a photograph by Shirley Toulson, and we are supposed to discuss about poetic devices today. But before we start, we will have a recapitulation of the poem from the book Hornbill. Okay? Good morning, Khushi and Gurvansh. I'm waiting more students to join as soon as possible. Please join the group. So you have to open Hornbill, and we had in the previous 2 sessions we completed the summary of this poem. The poem is a photograph, right? We had completed a photograph, and this photograph is written by Shirley Toulson. Shirley Toulson. Okay, and let's take a quick recapitulation of this poem. It was the summary, the basic theme or the summary is that the poet recalls the old memories when she happens to see a photograph of her mother. When she looks at the photograph, she feels a sensation of sadness because when she looks the older memories, it one on the other hand it makes her happy, and on the other hand it makes her so sad. Now, here, few important lines, I would say that she calls it a cardboard. The cardboard shows me how it was. Here, she did not use the word photograph because that photograph is pasted on a cardboard and unframed. So, when she looks at that, she feels and she describes how her mother went on spending holidays at sea, near sea. She talks about there are 3 girls that are smiling in that photograph clicked by White's mother's uncle. Now, there are 3 girls. Who are those 3 girls? The eldest one is White's mother, and the other 2, whose name have been mentioned as Betty and Dolly, are the younger cousins, girls' cousins of White's mother. Then she also talks about, she takes some examples and laments, saying that sea has not changed much. It means the nature doesn't change very frequently, but what changes the most is the human life. The sea is still there, but the transient feet, the feet which has been imprinted on the wet sand near the seashore has been washed away by the waves of the sea. But the sea has not yet changed, which also shows the sad mood of the poet. Then in the second paragraph, she talks about like whenever my mother, when she will grow up and become some 30 or 20 to 30 years old, when she will look this photograph, she will recall how their parents dressed them up for the beach that day. Now, see in the last 2 lines of second paragraph, again she feels sorry for because she misses her mother who has died nearly 20-30 years before. She talks about that she feels labored ease. She with the labored ease of loss. So it is both loss of losing the mother as well as childhood she has lost to look at her mother. So it is about both the things she has to accept it with ease, right? And the last paragraph, she talks about her mother has died nearly years ago, but she cannot do anything of these circumstances, since what she can do is that she has to try to make herself understood, like this is ongoing process of human life, and its silences, like the silence have been compared here to the death, and that death makes her silence because she has no control over these natural things. Means a person grew as a small child, he becomes young, then become adults, and then become old, and at last he has to die. That is why she says these circumstances are not under her control, but what these circumstances has made her, it made them silent. This is how the summary shows. And today we will discuss the verse of the poem, how it is written. This poem is written in bibliography, as I told you yesterday also. What is bibliography? It is a list of citations, the list of citations which is put together on the base of the things that a poet or a writer feels like to write about it. Right? He writes and gather and put these all ideas together on a topic of his or her interest. Now, if I talk about that, when she looked at the photograph, she felt that she should write about that photograph and revise the memories of her mother and her childhood. So it made her compelled to write some of the lines about poet's mother. Okay, so this is in bibliography. I'm writing. It is a bibliography. It is written in bibliography. So this poem can said to be in a bibliography form. Next, we will discuss the poetic devices, which are very important. These poetic devices are also known as figure of speeches. These are known as figure of speeches. Good morning. I can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Today we have good strength. We have 6 children live today. I expect more and more to join every day. So a bibliography, again I'm saying those who have come, good morning everybody. A bibliography is kind of list of the things that is put, ideas which are the intentions coming in the mind has been put together to write on a specific topic or on a specific thing which insists any writer to write about. For example, if I am sitting and all of a sudden I get to know, I have a book in my hand which is very small and of 4 or 5 pages. I read the story, and on the basis of that story, I recall, yes, I remember somebody the characters in that story which I have learned, and I feel like no, I can also write better about it, about my incidents, and can put down together. So, in the same way, when Shirley Toulson happened to see this, so she became anxious to write about it. So that is in a bibliography form. Okay. Now we will discuss about the poetic devices, or we'll discuss about figure of speeches. Now, in the figure of speeches, what are figure of speeches? You must have done it in your previous class also. So, figure of speeches are the style of writing, and those style of writing has been denoted with few articulating words to demonstrate the way the lines, the phrases, or the clauses have been utilized with the same word but a different sense. Not saying meaning, but in different sense, means adjusted it in different sense to give multiple meanings to know about the text. Okay, so today we will start about poetic devices. So how many poetic devices have been used? So first we will talk about the very first is simile. I am starting with simile, as you have already done about simile in the previous classes. What is simile? Simile is a figure of speech in which poet, narrator, or author, the writer, he compares two distinct quality. Maybe these can be human to non-living, non-living to human. So two distinct qualities, two distinct things, but with the same quality, but with the help of like and as. With the help of like and as. So they compare two things having the same quality. Okay. Now let's come back to the book. In this book, the simile word. This is simile. Now, next we talk about in the simile we call about in this poem. I think simile is not used. Let's move to next one. I think you have understood what simile is. Now we will move to next poetic devices which actually used in this. Next is annotation. So simile is not used, but what is used here? Annotation. Annotation. Annotation can also said to be commentary. Can also said to be commentary. Okay. So what is annotation? Commentary, or we can call it to make comments. When in between of the text, when poet is making some comments about comparing her writings with that of time. Sometimes she is comparing it with sea, and sometimes she is bound not to cannot recall all those. She cannot talk to her mother since she's died. So this type of things are there. So annotation is a commentary a reader makes after critical reading. जब आप critical reading कर लेते हैं and जो information resource होता है आप वो किसी के साथ share करना चाहते हैं, उस समय आप when you use these all. So I am using this in simple way, like it includes summary of reading. Annotation is include summary of reading. It includes summary of reading to attract reader. So poet makes comments in between to write the summary of reading so that the reader gets attracted towards it. So what are those lines in this poem? The first one is, the cardboard shows me how it was. The cardboard shows me how it was. Here, other than using the word photograph, she is attracting reader to read about cardboard. What is there in the cardboard? So that is why she made the reader attracted, so that it is annotation. So this is the example of annotation in your poem. The next one is and see, and the sea, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, which appears to have changed less. Whereas in the first paragraph she is talking about the memories, but suddenly she makes comments bringing the things from sea, and then she is appearing to have changed less. So this is how she is making comments on it. Okay, this line is also annotation. Another example of it is, after this, another example of annotation is, if you have opened your books, please, second paragraph, last rhyme, it is washed their terrible transient feet. Washed their terrible transient feet. Okay, I do not have enough space. Shall I erase this? Can I get yes from you? Okay, I've got many students joining today. So after these examples, if you have underlined it in your book, let's move to next example of annotation used in this poem. The next annotation is, in the second paragraph, when the poet is talking about the memories, like when 20-30 years later, when her mother will look how their parents have dressed them up for sea holiday, the sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. So, all of a sudden, she changes the reader's attention, saying, the sea holiday was her past and mine is her laughter. So, that is also annotation. In the beginning, she talked about the photograph, and all of a sudden, she changed the comments, or she changed the comments in order to for the readers to pay attention on. So, the sea holiday was her past, was her past, mine is her laughter. This is an example of annotation. This is also an example of annotation. And the last one is, the last example of it's silences. It's silences. And all of a sudden, at last, when she talks about mother's death and the circumstances that made her stopped, nothing to say, she stopped her saying any other remarks. At last, to attract the reader, she writes, it's silences. Okay, clear? So annotation can also said to be an extra information added. It can also be said like this also, extra